Love has the power to awaken parts of us we never knew existed. It is not only a feeling, it is a mirror, a guide, a masterful teacher that refuses to let us remain asleep. When you truly open your heart to love, you do not only discover another person, you discover yourself. You begin to see both your beauty and your brokenness, your patience and your pride, your compassion and your fear. Love has a way of holding up a mirror to your soul. In the early moments when hearts are full of excitement, you may think you are only learning about another person, their voice, their habits, their laughter, their flaws. Yet over time, love reveals far more about you than it does about them. When you love someone, you see the parts of yourself that are kind, patient, generous. You also see the corners you prefer to keep hidden, your impatience, your insecurities, your need for control, your fear of loss. Love doesn't allow you to hide for long because intimacy dissolves the masks you wear in the world. Think about it. When you are alone, it is easy to believe you are calm and wise. It is easy to feel strong when no one is pressing your buttons, when no one is asking you to give more than you feel ready to give. But love pushes you out of that comfort. It asks you to care, to commit, to prioritize someone else's heart alongside your own. And in doing so, it exposes every crack in your character. If you are quick to anger, love will show it to you. If you are afraid to trust, love will uncover it. If you carry wounds you thought were long healed, love will press gently on them until you admit they still hurt. This is why love is not always soft. Sometimes it feels like a challenge, because it makes you aware of the places where you are still learning. Yet this awareness is a gift. When someone's presence stirs your deepest emotions, whether joy, fear, or even jealousy, they are showing you a map of your inner world. You begin to understand what truly matters to you, what you are still protecting, and what you have not yet forgiven in yourself. In this way, love is a teacher, unlike any other. It points to your highest virtues and your hidden weaknesses at the same time. It calls you to grow, to let go of pride, to soften where you are hard, and to strengthen where you are fragile. It is not always comfortable, but it is always honest. Love has a way of separating what is real from what is only imagined. At first, you might believe that holding someone close, clinging to them, or fearing their absence is proof of deep affection. But as love matures, it reveals something different. Attachment is not the same as connection. Attachment says, I need you because I am afraid to be without you. Connection says, I choose you because I see you, because I value who you are, not just what you give me. When love tests you, it often does so by showing how tightly you hold on. If you feel panic at the thought of losing someone, that feeling does not necessarily come from love, it comes from fear. If you find yourself trying to control where someone goes, what they do, or how they feel, that is not love either, that is insecurity wearing love's clothing. Love asks you to stand with an open hand rather than a clenched fist, to offer presence instead of possession. In these moments, you discover whether your bond is built on understanding or on demand. True connection thrives in freedom because it does not depend on constant reassurance. It grows when two people see each other clearly and still choose to stay, not because they have to, but because they want to. Attachment, on the other hand, feeds on anxiety, the fear that if you do not hold on tightly, everything will slip away. This lesson is not easy. It forces you to confront the ways you confuse love with control, devotion with dependence. You begin to realize that genuine love allows space for the other person to breathe, to grow, even to walk away if they must. And strangely, the more freedom you give, the stronger true love becomes. Love refines you in ways that few other experiences can. In the beginning, it feels effortless, a natural current carrying you forward, warm and full of light. But as time passes, that same current will bring you face to face with moments of discomfort. You are asked to be patient when things do not go your way. You are asked to soften your pride when conflicts arise. You are asked to remain steady when emotions become turbulent. These moments are not punishments. They are the lessons love offers to shape your character. Patience is one of the first virtues love demands. It asks you to listen when you would rather speak, to understand when you would rather be understood. Love reveals that caring for someone deeply is not measured by how often you say, "I love you," but by how you behave when they disappoint you, when they are different from you, when they need more time than you expected to heal or to grow. Humility follows close behind. Love shows you that you cannot always be right, and even if you are, being right is far less important than being kind. It teaches you to put your ego aside, to recognize that a relationship is not about winning arguments, but about building trust. It reminds you that your partner is not a reflection of your image, but a human being with their own path, their own pace, their own storms to weather. And then comes conscious action, the discipline of choosing love when the feeling isn't effortless. Love is not sustained by emotion alone. It survives through the daily decision to show up, to speak gently, to protect what matters even when it feels inconvenient. In this way, love transforms you quietly, teaching you that strength is not loud or forceful, but steady, tender, and deliberate. Love has a way of revealing that no one else can complete the healing you refuse to do yourself. In the glow of romance, it's tempting to believe another person will fix your wounds simply by being there, that their affection will silence your insecurities, calm your fears, and erase your past. But love is not a medicine someone else administers. It is a mirror that shows you where the work must still be done. When you lean too heavily on another to mend what's broken inside, the bond starts to strain. You expect them to say the perfect words, to behave in ways that soothe every hidden pain, to carry responsibilities that only belong to you. And when they inevitably fail, because no one can live up to such expectations, frustration and disappointment set in. It's not because they loved you less, but because love was never meant to replace your own inner growth. True love invites you to take ownership of your emotional landscape. It calls you to face old scars you've ignored, to sit with uncomfortable truths, and to learn how to stand steady on your own 2 feet. When you do this, love feels lighter, freer, less like a desperate grasp, and more like an open embrace. You're no longer asking someone else to hold together pieces you haven't learned to hold yourself. Paradoxically, the more whole you become within, the deeper and more peaceful your love becomes without. You stop demanding constant reassurance because you've built your own foundation of self-worth. You stop fearing abandonment because you've learned to be at home in your own presence. And in that space, love transforms from a source of dependency into a shared journey where two complete people walk side by side rather than clinging to each other out of fear. Love does not only speak through moments of harmony, it speaks just as clearly through pain. When relationships bring disappointment, conflict, or heartbreak, it is easy to see only loss. But if you are willing to look deeper, these moments carry lessons that no book or teacher can give. Love uses pain to sharpen your vision, not to punish you, but to help you see what was hidden. Every heartbreak is like a lantern in the dark. It illuminates what you value most, what you fear, and where you've been blind to your own patterns. If someone leaves you feeling empty, it shows you where you were relying on them to fill a space you must learn to fill yourself. If trust is broken, it teaches you to choose more wisely, to listen to intuition rather than to desire alone. If you feel shattered, it proves that you are holding on too tightly, mistaking attachment for love. In these moments, you have two choices. You can turn bitter, closing your heart and swearing never to love again. Or you can let the pain teach you, softening you instead of hardening you, making you wiser instead of resentful. Love's lessons are not always gentle, but they are always truthful. With time, you come to see that nothing is wasted, not even sorrow. The tears you shed water the roots of your understanding. The silence after a goodbye reminds you of your own strength. The ache in your chest pushes you to grow in ways comfort never could. And when love returns, it finds you different, steadier, clearer, less afraid. The pain you endured becomes the wisdom that guides your heart, ensuring that next time you love with greater depth, but also with greater clarity. Love is not something you achieve once and then keep effortlessly. It is something you practice day after day. In the beginning, love feels like a spark that ignites on its own, spontaneous, full of life. But over time, you discover that love is not only a feeling, it is a choice. The spark may come naturally, but keeping it alive requires attention, intention, and care. When you treat love as an achievement, you expect it to reward you without effort. You assume that once you have someone, the work is done. But love does not stand still. It grows or it fades depending on how you nurture it. Like a plant, it needs light, space, and constant tending. You cannot water it once and expect it to bloom forever. Practicing love means showing up even when it's inconvenient. It means listening when you would rather speak, offering patience when you feel frustrated, and choosing kindness when ego wants to win. It is easy to love when everything is going well, but the true measure of love is how you act when things are difficult, when misunderstandings arise, or when the excitement of the beginning has worn away. This practice also means loving with wisdom, not blindly. It calls for awareness, recognizing when to hold on with courage and when to step back with grace. It means remaining open even after being hurt, because you understand that love is not a prize to be guarded, but a path to be walked. By treating love as a living discipline rather than a finished goal, you learn to give freely, forgive deeply, and remain steady even when emotions shift. In this way, love shapes not just your relationships, but the kind of person you are becoming every single day. Love is not just an emotion we stumble into, it is a lifelong teacher that shapes who we are. It reveals the hidden corners of our soul. It tests whether we love freely or only cling in fear. It refines our characters through patience and humility, and it reminds us that healing begins within. Even in heartbreak, love speaks, offering wisdom in the language of loss. And when we learn to treat love not as a possession, but as a daily practice, we grow into people who can love more deeply, more clearly, and more freely. When love becomes your teacher, you stop searching for someone to complete you and start becoming someone who loves with both courage and grace. You discover that every joy, every challenge, every goodbye is part of a greater lesson, not about how to hold on tightly, but about how to open your heart without fear. And in learning these lessons, you do not just become better at love, you become more fully alive.